Here we are.
Here we are. We made it all the way. How excited are we to be done?
In
Well,
which terms are we talking about excitement? Are we talking about the
well,
excitement to record this episode? Very excited. Are we talking about that we're coming to the end, or that we are at the end? Very excited. How excited are we to talk about this actual episode? Ooh.
oof. Sorry, folks. Trying to turn my volume up here a little bit, and I'm going the wrong way.
Put that.
There we go.
But there you go.
All right. So that's our little prequel aside. Welcome to Blank as a Fart. Tonight we cover the very last episode of Twin Peaks. It's part 18 of The Return.
And episode 51, the penultimate episode of Blank as a Fart.
That's right. The penultimate episode. So yeah, we're just going to wrap up the rest of the series tonight and then take a week off. And then the week following, we'll do our grand finale / epilogue, covering some of the supplemental material, a couple of the novels that tie up some loose ends, and also, just final takes
Memories.
on the whole thing. Memories and
look backs.
Old and new. So yeah, that's... should we start with just overall general reactions?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Like, what were you feeling at the last scene?
Oh, the last scene, I was just like, nah, that feels like a cop-out, kind of.
A cop-out.
Felt like a cop-out. I was, like, really kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? And this is, like, again, heavy Lost Highway vibes. And then...
Yeah.
And then when we got to what... And it's just like... I just felt like, that's cheap. I felt a little cheap.
We've got some interesting theories to cover, but we'll get to those at the end here. Going into it on this viewing, I will say that it feels less effective not watching parts 17 and 18 together. They really do feel like one unified work to me. And so in particular, you have this week we repeat that scene where Cooper is leading Laura through the woods, and I really don't think we saw that twice when this originally aired. Because again, when it first aired, 17 and 18 were together.
Gotcha.
So seeing them separate, like a week apart, it doesn't feel as good as watching them combined. So take that for what you will, but I would like to go back and watch it as one unified episode again at some point and see if there are the same editing differences. I suspect there would be.
Do they do that in the box set? Like they have the 2-hour version, or they just only have it?
I'm not sure about 17, 18. I know they do for 1 and 2 because that aired the same way. 17 and 18 were by themselves on a disc, and there was a play all option, but I don't know if that played them unified in the same way.
And they aired them unified, or no?
They did, yes. So, yeah, take that for what it's worth. It felt incomplete to me without... It's kind of like listening to Zeppelin's Heartbreaker without immediately following it with Living Loving Maid. Those two just kind of fit together. They weren't designed so, but they're like inseparable. It doesn't feel right having one without the other. This was kind of the same way to me.
Gotcha.
So anyway, before we dive in, you might notice I'm on location this week. This is the rehearsal room for a friend of the show, Domer, who provided our theme music. That's right. Our intro and outro music is called Big Old Dead. And that's from the Eponymous album. And you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all the usual places you listen to music. Check it out. It's good stuff.
I think if you are a viewer and longtime viewer of the show, this is like the third time he's, I think, been broadcasting from this place. So
Yeah, at
maybe
least with
one
her.
per season almost. I think we've maybe more. There might be more.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know we've been at it for over a year because I'm starting to see like memories on Facebook and stuff like that of our previous episodes. So yeah, I have a house sitting gig for Domer on a fairly yearly basis. Actually, probably 3, 4 times yearly.
The cost for the
But one of
rights of
those,
the cost for the rights of the song.
right? Yeah, because yeah. But yeah. So anyway, if we've been on the air over a year, chances are there's been multiple shows that I've broadcast, if you will, from here. So this will be the last one, though. I'll be on my home turf for our grand finale. So, anything you want to add before we dive in?
Nope, let's do it.
All right. Part 18. It begins abruptly with Mr. C's body, seated in the Red Room, staring with the eyes of the dead, consumed in flames and emitting a noxious black smoke. Smash cut to an empty cushion on the chair, where Mike places the small golden bead that we'd seen previously, and a lock of Cooper's hair that he yanked out of his head in the hospital. Mike utters the word electricity and zaps the hair a couple of times with his fingertips. The golden bead comes to life and appears to devour the lock of hair, then grows into a replica of Cooper. Bewildered, but cheerfully so, the new Tulpa looks around the room and asks Mike, "Where am I?" with a sheepish grin on his face. A quick pan over the zigzag floor pattern and up the red drapes eventually leads us to the red door at Lancelot Court, which Jeannie E. answers to find her beloved Dougie waiting for her on the front stoop. As she and Sonny Jim rush to embrace him, the new and improved Dougie Jones answers his own question with a single word: home. Pretty saccharine
Aw,
right here.
happy ending.
Yeah, pretty not something you see often in Lynch material.
Is it happy though? I mean, they're just basically kind of going back. We don't really know how affected this Dougie is. We don't know.
Well, I mean, given
We're hoping it's more of a positive Dougie with Cooper's DNA, but it could be.
we'll come back to this discussion
We'll
later
never know.
because I mean,
Can he
there's obvious aspects of Cooper Prime
can he have sex like
that
Cooper? Can he
changed.
drive a car like Cooper? We don't know. We don't know. Is he friends with a gang? Gangsters like Cooper? Who knows? We don't know. We'll never
I
know.
mean, he seemed to have Cooper's joy.
But
We'll leave it at
he
that for
seemed a
now.
little, but he seemed to have a little bit of that simpleness in him. But
A little bit of that too, yeah. He's incomplete. Anyway, back to Ghostwood Forest and a quick rerun of Cooper leading Laura through the woods before the scratch, the shriek, and the disappearance. There is no lingering stare at the forest, though. This time, he simply turns to his left, and immediately he is back in the Red Room with Mike. Again, these are scenes that we've seen before. As Mike asks Cooper, is it future or is it past?
well, these scenes we saw in the past.
Yeah, but viewing them in the
I
past,
know.
they were, yeah,
I'm just teeing you up here. That's all.
right. Again, Mike disappears, and again, Cooper stares at an empty chair before he sees Mike across the room, beckoning him towards the exit. Again, Cooper sees the brain on the tree that calls itself the arm and makes its sound. But this time it has a new question for Cooper. Is it the story of the little girl who lived down the lane?
That's the noise it
Yes,
makes.
that's it sounds like that. But yeah, interesting of it to tie Audrey's story into this because we Audrey has never appeared in the Black or White Lodges or the Red Room, so where do those influences tie together? That's very curious. And who is the little girl? Again, older Laura whispers something in Cooper's ear that distresses him, and again she shrieks and flies away. Again, Cooper crosses the room to see Leland, who again tells him to find Laura. And again, Cooper exits down the long hall of tall red drapes, but this time something is different. He reaches his hand out and twists a little bit, and the drapes at the end of the hall begin to respond with his movement, billowing inward. He walks through those drapes and exits out into Glastonbury Grove, at exactly the point that he entered the lodge all of those 25 years ago. Waiting for him there is Diane, meeting him at the curtain call, just as he had predicted. The two take a moment to make sure that they are each other's genuine selves, and behind them, the red drapes fade out of existence.
Yes, that is exactly what happened. I mean,
That
I
is
don't really
exactly what
know.
happened.
I don't know. I thought it was weird. I don't get now that he has some kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I really don't know what to make of it.
No theories whatsoever?
Like, no.
I mean, I have a feeling that he's able to exit more easily because the doppelganger is now back in.
Is that what it is?
I
But
mean,
now also
that's what we're shown.
that's also why he's got like this fluttery power to show him where the door is. Like, that's
Well,
just
because
weird.
remember, last time he got to the door at the spot where Mr. C was going to be, and then the evil brain on a tree trapped him.
Yeah, but what is with this?
I think it's just a demonstration that Cooper's in control now.
Okay,
That
sure.
he is he's making his own decisions at this point.
Theories
I
abound.
again, there's
Theories
I don't know
abound.
what to make of it much more than you do either.
I'm just watching
So
it. I'm just a passenger.
la
At this point,
la
just a
la la
passenger.
la la la. That's kind of how we all feel at this point, I think. I mean, none of it made sense back then, and very little of it makes sense now. Cue cut to the first of many long scenes of driving in silence on the highway. This time it's in the day, though, and we're in the desert. Eventually, Diane asks Cooper if he's sure he wants to do this, whatever this is, saying he doesn't know what it's going to be like. He deflects her question to point out that they have reached their destination exactly 430 miles from their origin point of Glastonbury Grove. 430 is the number that the fireman mentioned to Cooper in the first episode. Cooper pulls the car over, and Diane asks him to reconsider his actions, but he doesn't heed her warning, and he exits the car. He walks forward a few feet and stops, sensing the environment around him. Several large power lines occupy the space along the road beside him, and we're talking the big ones, folks, like the hundreds of feet tall, 6 cables across, the big ones.
Cancer ones, the ones that cause cancer.
Right. He checks his watch, tenses up, nods, and takes a deep breath. Then he returns to the car, convinced that they're in the right spot. He tells Diane to kiss him, not asks, tells. She hesitates, but he pleads with her, once we cross, it could all be different. She seems to understand, then grants his request and says with conviction, let's go. Cooper pulls back onto the road and drives forward. Crackle, zap, ominous music, rapid fire cuts. Time speeds up to a frenetic pace, and then it's night. And Cooper and Diane are still driving as the shot eventually slows to the correct speed. After several more moments of this, the scene fades to black. It fades back in at an isolated roadside motel, featuring a dirt parking lot and small shrubs in front of the single floor of
Can
rooms.
I ask you one thing?
Yeah, sure.
Is this the
Good,
same
good.
hotel where we see that weird lady with the big nose from a previous episode?
Oh, the Philip Jeffries motel? No, it's not.
No, 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 no. Is it the Philip Jeffries one? Is that one?
The caretaker.
Oh, because we
You
go
know,
in
it
and
does.
it does really look
Yeah,
like it though.
to me, it looks like the same one that Mr. C and Daria were staying in with Hutch and Chantal, or with Chantal in the next room.
Oh, it's interesting.
It looks more similar to that.
Really? I don't know. For some
I don't
reason,
think it's
the
exactly the same
outside
as
with the
either of
white
them.
doors and the orange, like it just that color palette, just like it's like just like made me think like, why are we back at this place? But all right, I was just curious.
Yeah, no, it didn't look. It felt familiar, but it wasn't immediately recognizable. So maybe that's the goal there.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper exits the car and walks to the office, leaving Diane to wait in silence.
One of the best shots in the
As
whole video here because he gets out and there's like a dude on a dolly, like not a dolly. He's like on a tripod and they just pan it from one side past her head all the way. It's a pretty good shot. Kind of
Yeah,
like in Daredevil where they're in the car and he's fighting and they kind of just spin the camera around as he's anyway. If you've seen that,
yeah, I know the scene you're talking about. Yeah, I really think you would find some of the behind the scenes stuff interesting, having seen the material. But just some of the technical aspects of the shoot, I think you would find interesting.
I don't watch that stuff anymore, Gabe. Like any of it.
You know,
Like any.
you know all you need to
It's
know
not that I
about it.
know all or have any interest all. I just like. I think I got my fill as a young filmmaker interested. I just don't find any of that interesting anymore.
That's fair. We all get our fill of certain materials. Anyway, as Diane stares at the office, eventually she sees a doppelganger of herself emerge from behind a column. This isn't the Tulpa Diane. This is an exact copy of Diane as we see her now, with the red hair and the black dress. The two stare silently at each other for a moment, but when we cut back to Cooper emerging from the office, the duplicate is gone. Cooper walks to the door of room number 7 and turns around to stare at Diane in the car, waiting expectantly. She gets out and joins him. Entering the room, Diane turns on the lamp, but the light is unusually bright and harsh. And you could tell this in the filming. Like, this is excessively bright light. It's way brighter than any room lamp would be. So this might be, just one of many indicators that something strange is going on here.
I mean, something strange prior to the fact that they got out of a car in an electrical area and said, I'm pretty much like, yeah, this is all strange at this point.
Yes, it is.
Oh wait, he came out of curtains and Diane was there. Like, why? We don't even know why Diane's there.
And boy, we got to look at it as he's changed the timeline at this point, right? Because he pulled Laura away from her death. Like, we don't know what happened to her after that, but we know she didn't die. We saw the body fade out of existence. We saw Pete go on with his day.
But it goes somewhere else. It disappears.
But the body, yeah. Because Laura never went to the train car that night.
But then also Diane, we know from the police station, but then she just happens to be in the sycamores when he comes out. Like,
is the reality Cooper exits into the same one as the one he's left?
Yeah, there's that too.
That's not a definitively answered question, and things get even weirder, as we're about to see. Cooper, with the mildest of squints, tells Diane to turn the light off, and she complies. She asks what they do now, and Cooper tells her, "You come over here to me." Again, Cooper is not speaking in requests, but in commands, which is not really like Cooper.
Dude, this whole episode is not like Cooper.
Once they create the other Tulpa. We'll get to that. He says her name, they kiss again, and now it's time for one of the most awkward sex scenes in cinematic history.
Oh, she's
The
aware. Yes,
music
I've.
playing.
Yes, it's weird.
Oh, that's yeah, it's uncomfortable.
Have you seen
The
Crash?
music playing. Okay, yeah, not crash uncomfortable, but it's weird. It's
Yeah.
not something. Yeah. So the music that plays over this physical consummation is "My Prayer," the same song we heard playing on the radio the night the frog locust infected a teenage Sarah Palmer. It's undercut with low, ominous tones, however, increasing the sense of unease and discomfort that begins to grow as the scene goes on. We see Cooper's face, and it is dispassionate, almost turned off in a way.
Right.
His eyes are fixed on Diane's face, but he doesn't seem to be enjoying himself in any sense of the word. Neither does Diane, for that matter, though she does appear to be trying a little harder than he is. Diane caresses Cooper's face and kisses him, but as they continue, she grows increasingly distressed and starts to hide parts of his face, eventually using both of her hands to cover it entirely while she begins to weep. But she doesn't stop. She seems fiercely determined to finish having sex no matter what the cost may be to her psyche.
Clearly,
At the con-
Diane is a vessel for time travel, and or traveling between worlds, or traveling between realms, or whatever is happening here.
well, there's yes, there's
Well, you know what? There's a few theories here I had.
mm,
I'll let you finish this thing.
yeah, I've just got a sentence to go here. So, at the conclusion of the song, the scene abruptly cuts to black on Diane's face, her eyes wide, although we're not sure what emotion that would be with. Yeah, I've got some theories here as well, but they tie into the rest of the episode. So, yeah, I really kind of have to wait until we get to the end
Well, I thought
to
about,
like.
obviously she's reliving an experience that she's not. I would imagine that all of her versions of her share.
Yes, the notion that this is the face of the man who raped her. Yeah.
Right.
And he looks definitely more like Mr. C at
Here.
this point than he does like Cooper.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
So,
But she's the one that wants to do it. She does want to go through with
well,
it.
not necessarily.
She doesn't say she
I don't know if
doesn't.
she wants to, but
Yeah,
she's
but
committed to
she's
doing it.
committed to doing it. I don't really know why she's committed to doing it. Only because
So
maybe she
yeah,
trusts Cooper.
there's that element involved. Sure. Yeah. Again, let's start by thinking about what other sex scenes there were uh, in the show. There's only two that are coming to my mind.
The owl death scene, and then the one where they killed the one, and then the other one with what's her name, Genevieve.
Right. So there's the good one and the
Right.
bad one.
Well, there was a thought that like maybe this is an unfucking scene. Like she's trying to
And
work through her trauma. Like she's trying to work through her trauma.
I think her trauma is pretty key to what's going on here.
But like,
And
but owning it and like, I don't know.
well, okay. So yeah,
It's a very gray line, but
it is. But it also ties into some of the Crowley stuff that they had talked about the
Mr.
thelemic
Crowley.
salute Ozzy. But along those sorts of themes, and I'll discuss that towards the end when we do some full theories. So anyhow, it's morning now, and Cooper awakens alone in the bed of the motel room. Diane does not respond when he calls out her name.
She didn't like his
On the
sweet lovin'?
nightstand, she didn't seem to, did she? But it's not like he was encouraging her. On the nightstand next to him, he sees a classic Dear John letter, although this one is curiously enough starts Dear Richard. The author of the note claims that they don't recognize Richard anymore, and that whatever they had together is over. The note is signed Linda. Cooper is confused. Maybe he doesn't remember like the audience does, that Richard and Linda are the two names that the fireman told Cooper to remember during their conversation in the first episode, along with the numbers 430.
Nope. Did not remember
Yeah,
that.
Ian did not remember that either. So this has been predicted, but does Cooper remember?
Only because it has to be, not because it needs to be.
Well, it's
Why is it important, though, really?
that's a good question.
Okay. Continue on.
I think it's important because it just goes to show that this is something that the fireman was aware of already. Like, this is something he anticipated in one way or the other. It's either part of his plan or it's part of someone else's plan that he's already knowledgeable of. So we cut to the exterior of a very different motel. This one is 2 stories with large palm trees standing in front. Curiously enough, it is from a room on the lower floor of this motel that Cooper emerges. He walks up to a different car than he was driving the night before, but his keys still unlock it. He pauses briefly to check his surroundings, and it seems that he recognizes that something isn't quite right, but he doesn't appear to be able to put his finger on it, and he gets in the car and drives away. We see a sign for the city limit of Odessa, with a population of just under 100,000 people. As Cooper drives around town, he checks out the scenery, eventually spotting a sign for a diner called Judy's. He feels compelled to pull onto the lot. There's an odd shaky time shot of the diner before Cooper parks and makes his way in. The diner is mostly empty. An elderly couple is getting refills on their coffee while a few cowboys are finishing up in a booth. Cooper claims a booth of his own, and the waitress offers him coffee and a menu. He barely acknowledges her before accepting both. The first thing he asks her is rather odd. Is there another waitress that works here? Kind of an insulting thing to say to the person who just gave you a menu and coffee. The waitress serving him, who wears a name tag reading Christy, that's Kristi, gives him a measured stare before answering in the affirmative.
My wife's
and then
last
adding,
name is Christy, Kristi.
Yeah, but it's not her first name.
It's her last name.
It is.
I'm just saying.
Just saying. For all those who are looking to dox Ian and stalk him.
Good luck.
She also adds a little bit of an aside that the other waitress has been absent for 3 days now. Cooper drinks his coffee without enjoyment before looking up to see the cowboys at the other table harassing the waitress. He immediately tells them to leave her alone, which draws their undivided attention. So there's some of Cooper's white knight still in there, saving the damsel in distress.
So you're confirming.
The biggest
right now. You're confirming that he's a doppelganger, or he's a.
I mean, he's clearly not Cooper at this point.
But I guess the one at Gina E is clearly not Cooper either. So where is Cooper?
Cooper is fragmented now.
Oh, is that where he split himself? Is that that's what we're gonna go?
That's kind of the implication I'm getting. Yeah, and to be honest, Mr. C was fragmented too. We'll discuss that later. Or actually, honestly, this is probably a good place to discuss it because we're already touching on the fact that
I don't think it's
Cooper is not acting like Cooper.
I don't think it's in this scene not so much, but I would say it's not rude to ask if there was another waitress that works there because he's an FBI agent. That's like a normal thing for them to ask.
Well, but that's the very first thing he says to her. Like,
so
he doesn't say hello.
Cooper,
he doesn't say thank you. The first thing he says is, "Hey, is there someone else here?"
As Cooper.
And the implication I would get serving someone like that would be like, I don't want you serving me.
As Cooper, it is very bizarre. But as an FBI agent, I do not think that's a weird thing to say.
It feels impolite.
Sure.
So
Well,
just to
the
have that be
FBI,
your leading
dude, the
statement.
FBI are so polite. Let me tell you.
Eh, I just, yeah, if I were
You've
that
been
waitress, I
you've
would
been
have been
stuck in
deeply
this
insulted.
you've been stuck in this Twin Peaks fan fiction life where like Cooper is just like this the most polite FBI agent. Like, I mean, like I don't think they're that
I
polite.
know better. I know better. I watched X-Files too.
Oh my god. Yeah. Maybe we should watch like okay, sure. Oh, anyway,
So
yes.
yeah, anyway, expanding on this theory. Um, so now Mr. C doesn't act like the doppelganger who escaped did. Remember that like the what little we saw of him at the end of the original series, he was kind of manic. He was laughing and he was like when he was in the lodge, he was running around. So here's a popular theory is that Dougie Jones was a piece of the doppelganger that was like the desire, the want, or well, not the desire, but I don't know, but like
I get what you're saying
parts of
though.
the hedonist, yeah, because he feels less. Mr. C is less animated, and we already know that Dougie's OG Dougie's qualities are not great. He's whoring, he's gambling, he's running out on his family. Um, so yeah, it's a piece of Mr. C that is taken, but then that leaves Mr. C without something. There's something absent from him. And I think that's what we see happen with Cooper here. Is like the parts of himself that were removed to make this new Dougie, this good Dougie, like it's his kindness, it's his joy, it's the stuff that you need to be a good dad. And he didn't lose his sense of fairness and justice, but there's like I was saying earlier, his joy has kind of been removed from him
Then I guess in this
and used to.
situation, I feel like some of that driving or some of that just there's a lot
Well,
of
and then there's the
nothing
notion
going.
that
There's a
he's
no, but what I'm saying in this episode, there's a lot of like just a lot of space taken up of like nothingness that you could cut out and maybe give us just one more scene with them, just like because it doesn't really hammer it home that that's what's happening. Like yeah,
I am very, very proud of you that it took you until a half hour into the episode to complain about unnecessary scenes
oh
that could have been
yeah,
cut.
Jesus, I don't
That
even.
is a new record for Ian, folks. Mark that one down.
I'm not drunk, so that's why.
That's why.
Well, I was also not gonna.
But
I know I complained a lot last episode, so I was gonna reel it in too. But
you're balancing it out. Um, but I mean, I certainly don't disagree with you here. But I think a big part of it is used to set the mood. And I've read essays or like comments where people talk about how a lot of Lynch's art in general is just working out the things that terrified him as a kid. And like long highway driving at night with just these weird little islands of gas stations isolated in total darkness. That can be like really intimidating to a 5-year old. That's imagery that sticks with you like that. And especially when you associate it with that uneasy sense of mystery. You know what I mean?
sure.
So I think a lot of that is just him kind of like chasing that dragon or just trying to recreate that feeling he felt or just trying to translate it to film and get other people to have that sense of mystery and wonder. So,
If you say so, Gabe.
but you know, that's an excuse. It doesn't necessarily legitimize it in a lot of people's eyes. But this is one of the most unsettling episodes of the series as a whole, and a lot of it has to do with these long silences and these awkward passages of time that don't necessarily feel accurate. They feel dreamlike. They feel, you know, they don't feel like the natural flow of time. So anyway, we were in the middle of a scene before we got sidetracked here. This is cowboys that were grabbing ass, and Cooper told them to stop. Okay, here we go. The biggest one threatens Cooper with a gun, like heroes do. But a nonplussed Cooper quickly disarms him and kicks him square in the balls. He then whips out his own service pistol and shoots the toe of the next closest asshole before ordering the third cowboy to put his gun on the ground. Asshole number 3 claims not to be armed, but Cooper firmly gives him one last chance to come clean, and he eventually surrenders his weapon. Cooper takes the guns of the 3 cowboys and walks behind the counter while the stunned waitress and cook look on, and the old couple whisper excitedly back and forth. He tells the waitress to write the address of the other waitress down on a piece of paper for him. Cooper oddly decides that the best place for the cowboys' guns is in the deep fat fryer, and he amusingly has to ask for instructions where to place the fryer basket to clear a space. He warns the cook to keep his distance as the oil may be hot enough to set off the bullets in the guns. The waitress is hesitant to give Cooper the address, given his odd behavior, but he rather woodenly lets her know that it's okay because he's with the FBI. And he exits the diner still waving his gun around aimlessly, even at the innocent people. That was something that really bugged me here in this scene. Is like basic gun safety is you don't point a gun at something you don't want to shoot. And he's just kind of like waving it around the whole room. Just like, oh, over here at the old couple, over here at the waitress and the cook. And he's just, not even keeping it on the guys that he's trying to
I
control.
don't consider that he's waving it. It feels like a more of a melodic predator. This is where, you get the thoughts where like, is this just Mr. C again? Or it's just
again,
more like he's just
Cooper
covering,
would never be so careless to.
He's not like or like that. He's like, it's very turn slowly. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah, because those old people were totally going to jump him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, well, he doesn't know. Like, he's seen a lot of weird shit. They could be weird fucking shit. He doesn't know. I feel like for me, it was less. It's like it did feel very Mr. C, but it also felt like he just didn't want any surprises. Like he didn't want to like have someone be like coming out
more like a real FBI agent would behave.
Well, yeah, just hey, sit there because
maybe there was a fourth cowboy in the bathroom that he didn't know about.
He's not like flailing or something. He's just like, don't get up, don't fucking do anything alarming.
Like it seems odd to me to have him point the gun at innocent people.
It was 100% weird, but it's like it's like he's doing a bank robbery or some shit. It's like, hey, don't go nowhere. That's kind of where I got from it. But then it was very like, this is not Cooper either. So it's just like in my head, it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's like his personality has like lagged behind in whatever portal he's traveled through. Like there's this ghost of him that's stuck behind.
Like if you're
like an echo that hasn't fully caught up.
Well, I would say like,
or it's that piece of Dougie, or it's that piece he left behind intentionally.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like somehow I don't know, but there's the stupid thing about this. Like even if he did split himself, this is wild too, because it's wild to think that he split the best so he's like the best FBI agent now, and then the best human. He sent back. Like somehow they chose to make these two choices. So like we've never seen really Cooper take 3 dudes down like that. I don't think ever.
We haven't.
This is like some John Wick shit, So it's
like the closest we ever got was the scene with Ike the Spike.
Right. So it's like this is like the most like just legit. Well, even in the
in the OG series, in the OG.
He might have shot someone or something, but you've never seen fucking Cooper just be like fucking that textbook and just take them all down and like this is like a clinical FBI agent now,
Yeah. Yeah. There is a coldness to him, a logic.
Well, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you talk about the sex and all that stuff. It's just like it's very not Cooper.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why I wish there was more of the other scenes to know that, like, well, why is this Cooper so cheery? Like, it's not Dougie. See, that would have just been a nice little bit more of a parallel to, like, you only get that one scene, that tiny fucking scene, and then he gives you all this other stuff. Is like, well, something's weird. So I guess we just have to go on that, but that's fine. But it's just like, man, it'd been nice to. But maybe he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to explain that at all. So I get it. That's Lynch. So fuck it.
That's Lynch.
Lazy Lynch, as I call him.
As you call him, among other things.
No, it's my new name, David Lazy Lynch.
Lazy Lynch. Cooper makes his way to the address that he was given, which is a peach-colored ranch-style house with a 2-car garage. Scouting the area, Cooper notices a familiar-looking power pole bearing the number 6. Remember this one?
Yes, no, I remember this.
Seen it in a couple of visions. Andy saw it once, too. He approaches the front door, taking note of the shabby state of the picket fence and front yard. We see the interior, where a middle-aged woman with short curly hair tenses up as she approaches the door, asking who it is.
Holy shit.
Cooper announces himself as FBI, and she snatches open the door to ask, "Did you find him?" Cooper, of course, sees what we see, a woman who bears the image of Laura Palmer. It's not a name that she recognizes, though. Her name is Carrie Page. Carrie denies any knowledge of what Cooper is talking about, but when he says the words, "Your mother's name is Sarah," this seems to unsettle Carrie somewhat, and she begins to get this idea that something strange is going on, at least from the way she reacts.
Should we know the name Carrie Page?
No, this has never come up in the series before.
Okay, all right.
No mention of that. That's not one you should recognize.
See, that would be
There
really
are a
interesting.
couple later. There are a couple later that you should recognize. We'll discuss, but
Jesus,
we'll see if you remember them. Cooper tells her that he needs to take her to her mother's home. It's very important. Carrie is hesitant, but it seems she's looking for an excuse to get out of town anyway. Sounds as though she's gotten herself into some trouble. To hammer home the point that Carrie understands nothing, she hilariously asks if Twin Peaks is in D.C. She invites Cooper in to wait while she gathers her things, and he steps into the living room, turning nonchalantly to his left to see a dead body in a chair. There's a bullet hole in the man's forehead, and blood and brains are drying on the wall behind him.
He's been dead for a while. His stomach's bloated.
Yeah, and his arms they're not resting on the cushion. They're like stiffly upright, and they're, ooh. So it's like he's been moved or something.
I don't know. It's weird.
Aside from the hole in his head, he does look suspiciously like Mr. C. He's got the slick back, long hair. The chair he's sitting in is very similar. So there's some parallels there.
He's dead, too.
He's dead. Cooper then looks to the mantle to see a small figurine of a white horse, which gives him pause. Remember the white horse? We've seen that quite a lot.
I don't remember that at all.
He saw it on his way out. He saw it on his way out of the lodge the first time. And Sarah saw it when Bob would take Leland over to kill people. So yeah, the pale horse usually means death. Carrie asks about coats and food while the phone rings endlessly in the background. As they exit the front door, Carrie takes one last look back at the dead body. Cooper asks nothing, and she offers nothing about it. Carrie's enthusiasm is kind of strange here. Almost childish.
Yeah.
Like when she asks about food, and he's like, "I'll buy you food." Oh, okay.
Dude, the whole situation's weird, Gabe. Like, she's nonchalant to the fact that there's a dead body or any of this. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to make of any of that.
Doesn't make any move to answer the phone. Doesn't care that it's ringing.
Is it cold in Washington? Should I bring a coat? I got 2 of them. I'll get one.
I mean, this is Texas. We assume that's the only Odessa I know, though there could be one in like Oklahoma or Utah, perhaps.
Sure, I don't know. I don't know.
But I get the sense that this is Texas,
Probably, most likely.
given the Cowboys. Although they could be in Idaho too. While you got Google available, can you see what other
Odessa,
Odessas there are in there?
Ukraine.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's not the one.
What? You don't think they drove?
Well, that's the other thing is like, okay, we'll get to that. On the road now, Cooper finally shows Carrie his badge as proof of his special agent status. Note that he didn't show that to anyone at the diner. The
Right.
scene fades. Yeah. And he never introduced him. Like, did he? Yeah. Anyway, the scene fades to nighttime and more silent driving. Lots more. We see a single set of headlights behind the car, and eventually Carrie asks if someone is following them before the vehicle behind passes them on the left. Carrie mumbles a little bit about her life in Odessa before she appears to fall asleep. Cut to a very long distance shot of a gas station, an island of light in a sea of darkness. From quite a ways away, we see Cooper and Carrie emerge from the store and re-enter their vehicle. Cooper,
There is an Odessa in Washington,
there is? Okay.
and it's in eastern Washington. It would
Okay.
be well. See it. Kind of. It'd be west of Twin Peaks.
West of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, because it's not. It's kind of. It's not quite central. It's like a little more east of central, but it is north.
I always thought Twin Peaks was further west.
I thought Twin Peaks was up in Spokane. No.
I always thought it was closer to, like, say,
Oh, Seattle.
Bellingham.
Oh, well then it's very east of that then.
But I mean, when Cooper gets the jet, they fly to Spokane and drive from there.
That's what I'm saying. I always thought it
Yeah,
was like over on that side of it. That's very odd. I don't know.
but I mean, so
One.
here's the thing: is like it's still supposed to be the same night when they get there.
Maybe Odessa and Twin Peaks
Like
are the
if
same
they drove
place.
from Odessa, Texas, there's no fucking way they made it there in one night.
Sure. No, 100%.
Or is like time acting weird again, like it did when he and Diane crossed over? Or
No, I get you. I feel you.
uh, did I already talk about Cooper being the gentleman and opening the door?
Mm, maybe not.
I'll repeat it. It's just a paragraph. Cut to a very long distance shot of a gas station. Yeah, okay. I read that.
Okay, I'll say this.
Cooper, gentleman that he is.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 places in the United States called Odessa. Odessa, Texas is the most popular one. All the other Odessas are east of that Odessa. There's only one Odessa west of Texas, and that's the one in
That's the one in
Washington.
Washington. What's the population?
Oh, Jesus Christ, Gabe.
I know it's complicated.
No, go ahead. Keep reading.
I just because they give you that on in the show.
Do they?
So I'm wondering.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because he passes the sign. It's like just under 100,000.
Odessa.
So I'm thinking Odessa, Texas is probably bigger than that.
Washington population.
Pop you.
Dude, it is so small. 900.
Smaller than 100,000.
926.
Okay, so it's not supposed to be that Odessa.
No.
Okay.
So they drove from Texas to basically Spokane.
In one magical night. More silent driving, more point of view shots of the road lit by headlights, the Lost Highway shit. I have real spooky memories of that sort of thing too. My parents had friends that lived in Wellington, which was only a 30, maybe 40-minute drive from our place in Fort Collins. But, really late at night on a really empty highway with no one else around, it feels a lot longer than that. And when you're half asleep, it gets a lot spookier than that. When the only light you can see is the dashboard light and what the headlights put out.
So you can get from Odessa, Texas to Spokane, Washington in 1 day and 30 minutes. So they could
If you
technically,
never stop.
if you never stop, which they don't. Well, they got gas at Vallejo.
Well, how long? Yeah, how long of a drive is it from Spokane to the northern border, though?
Not very
Because
long.
that's supposed to be where Twin Peaks is.
Spokane's pretty fucking close. I mean, it's not super
To the
close.
northern border? I
To
always thought it was more
Canada?
central. Yeah.
Canada, it's no. Spokane's like far east. It's like it's an hour from. I feel like it's an hour to Coeur d'Alene, and it's an hour to Canada.
Huh.
No, it's it's an hour to
I
Coeur
always thought it was
d'Alene.
further south in the
I
state.
don't think you can go straight to Canada from Spokane though. It's just mountainous national forest, so it might be. Well, you could probably do it. Let's see. This is an hour to there. There's probably 2.5 hours to the border.
Yeah. Yeah. But they couldn't do it in a single night. So either they cut out a whole day of them driving, or time is magic here.
Well, of course, Hollywood magic,
Cooper
baby.
occasionally, yeah. Cooper occasionally glances over at Carrie, but her face remains inscrutable. They cross a random bridge, and suddenly they're passing the Double R Diner. Cooper asks Carrie if she recognizes any of these local landmarks, but nothing is ringing any bells for her. They've reached the house, but there is still no recognition in Carrie's eyes. They exit the car, and Cooper takes Carrie gently by the hand and leads her up towards the house. There's a lamp on in every window as they approach. The tension is thick, and Cooper and Carrie both seem oddly detached from the moment, as if moving through a dream. Cooper knocks a couple of times, and after a moment, the door is answered by a middle-aged woman with long blonde hair. Not someone whom we recognize. Cooper introduces himself and asks for Sarah Palmer, but there's no one at the home by that name. The woman who answered is the current owner of the house. Cooper is full of questions that he asks in an interesting order, starting with who they bought the house from. The answer to that is Mrs. Chalfont. Not ringing any bells?
Nope.
How about this one? Eventually, Cooper gets the idea to ask the homeowner her name, which is Alice Tremond.
Tremond did sound familiar, but I don't remember.
All right, so here's where it gets weird.
I didn't Google it.
Mrs. Tremond and Mrs. Chalfont are the same character in the OG series and in Fire Walk With Me.
Okay.
It's Happy Gilmore's grandma.
Okay.
It's the creepy lady with the creamed corn who disappears when Donna goes back to look for her. And that's Mrs. Tremond. And in Fire Walk With Me, Mrs. Chalfont is the woman who gives Laura the painting of the staircase that essentially acts as a portal to the lodge. And you also see her appear above the convenience store with Bob in the arm and the woodsman. So Mrs. Chalfont, Mrs. Tremont, is an agent of the Black Lodge.
Well, I could have told you that by the way she acted, but
So, anyway, the woman offers one brief sideways glance at Carrie, but otherwise does not acknowledge her during the conversation. Cooper apologizes for disturbing the homeowner so late at night, and he and Carrie take their leave. They slowly make their way down the steps and into the street, at which point Cooper pauses and looks back at the house.
here we go.
Carrie follows suit. Cooper seems confused. He's moving oddly, hunched over like an old man with one fist clenched.
Well, he was doing the. I feel like he was doing the walk like he did earlier when he got out of the car with Diane. He's kind of doing the like.
There was a little bit of that, yeah.
Feeling the
Uh,
air. I
this
can
is
feel it.
also
See, that's what I would have done. I would have ended it with the Phil Collins song. I can
this is
feel it
also a
coming in the air. And then she screams, and then dun 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 dun. Anyway,
this is also a similar stance that we saw Philip Jeffries take when he was in the office, or was he in the office in Fire Walk with Me?
oh my God, here we go. Was
Yep.
he in the office?
Well, you know what I'm talking about. Because he just kind of vanishes in thin air.
Yes, he was there for a moment.
He was. And he was standing weird while he was. Eventually, Cooper asks, "What year is this?" Close up on Carrie, and faintly, as though from a great distance across space and or time,
Back of the house.
we hear Sarah's voice call out Laura's name.
Do we? I didn't hear that.
We do.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't hear that. I remember hearing that.
I didn't hear it the first time watching either.
Hmm.
But having watched back, if you listen to it, it's very low in the mix, but it's there.
So
Because,
who calls it?
It's Sarah.
Oh.
It's Sarah calling Laura's name. Some people argue that it's the audio from the pilot episode where Sarah is hollering at Laura to come down for breakfast. But this has never been confirmed or denied by anyone in production. But yes, it's there if you listen for it.
The true demon of the show, Sarah Palmer.
Anyway, we hear it, and Carrie seems to hear it too, as she unleashes a blood-curdling scream that startles Cooper and us. Cut to the house, where all the lights in the home simultaneously flash out at once, as though the house were a giant light bulb that suddenly burnt out. The scream continues to echo into the darkness, and I don't know if it did this for you, but on my 4K HD TV, you could see the flash burn of the house in the screen.
Oh, maybe. I wasn't really closely paying attention. I was just kind of.
I watched it back on a different TV, and I couldn't see it, but on the 4K TV, I could. The scream continues to echo into the darkness, and after a long moment, the scene fades back into an extreme close-up of Laura whispering something in Cooper's ear that clearly distresses him. And this is where the last credits roll. One last thing to note is at the very end, the title card for Lynched Frost Productions is silent, absent of its usual sound of powerful electricity.
Thank God, it's over. Let them stay in the past. Or the future, I don't care. The past, right?
So,
it's supposed to be the past, right?
I don't know. I don't know where he came out.
So we don't know.
That's something I never considered.
Well, I thought
I mean, given some of the technology present in the scenes, like he's got a key fob.
That's true.
So this can't be 89.
But it's not that much further in the future.
25 years. This is a Laura who is 25 years older than the one he knows, so.
Yeah, that's really weird.
So, from what you've seen, what does this all mean?
I have no answers for you, Gabe. I feel like this is him.
Not even the little bit of a theory. It's
not even that. I just think like it's just him exercising his usual shit. He's just doing his thing. I don't really think there's anything. I just thought it was kind of a cop out that like, oh, we're in a different time. It's just like, blah. I was just very like, this is seriously how we're gonna end this. Like,
that's the first thing that jumped into my head when I saw it.
Let's go to the sheriff's office and see what that fucking shit show looks like. No, we're not gonna even do that. You're not even gonna get. It's just I don't really a theory. What is my theory of this?
As far as the story,
The
like
story?
what happens in the story, explain the story.
All of
What
it?
is happening to Cooper here? Well, no, just the end.
Just this? Just this? The whole
Yes.
story? Just this?
What does this ending mean for the rest of the story? Is this a good ending or is this a bad ending?
It's a shit ending.
Is this a happy ending or a sad ending? I guess I should rephrase that. Did the good guys win or did the bad guys win?
Neither. This is that like this is a zeroed out ending. This is just an ending. It's like I think we're just tired of doing this. Let's just give them this and call it a day. It's like okay, like I don't think this is a good or a bad ending. This is just an ending. I'm sure you have. I'm sure there's like 100,000 pages of fan fiction, and I'm sure you have your
Oh, there's an
theories.
insane amount of
But
theories.
as a viewer, as a guy who's just watching this, didn't really enjoy it. Just looking at it, it's like this is just a fucking ending. Like just like stir up to stir up all that. Just,
So
but I don't
I'm
think
going to
you.
draw a comparison here to, and you're probably going to hate me for this, but I'm going to draw a
Oh,
comparison to The Sopranos.
oh my god. Okay,
A lot of people did not understand the ending of Sopranos.
the
Yeah.
Sopranos ending is super easy, but okay.
I mean, there are multiple, and I mean, Chase has admitted that the general fan consensus is the theory, the accepted theory.
I mean, they pretty much
That's,
explain it in the episode before it, so it's like anyway.
yeah, there's the line about you just fade to black or whatever.
No, no, no. What do you think happens when you die? And he's like, oh, you go to credits, no music.
Yeah, he just
You just it's over. Anyway, uh,
anyway.
so we're
But
going
as
with the.
to
So
like,
we're thinking that like
as
Cooper
far as like
dies
a
here.
lack of satisfaction, no. So I think basically what the gist of it is that Cooper suffers the same fate as Jeffries. He's become untethered from reality. He's become his personality has fragmented, and now he's essentially a spirit of the lodge. He's never going to return to the real world. Um. Okay,
I would
so
accept that a little bit more if those parameters were built more into the story. Like you can't use Sopranos as an ending where when the Sopranos
oh no,
storyline,
that's
you
not
know,
no. And I you didn't let me finish
no,
that point that I was
okay.
trying to make. In that a lot of people didn't understand the ending and felt unsatisfied by it.
I mean, that's cool if that's what he's trying to do, but like,
That's the comparison I'm drawing. Is that I would say a lot of Twin Peaks fans did not understand this ending and did not feel satisfied by it. Me being one of
I
them.
guess what I would have done, not what I would have done. I guess what I'm saying is like, this is basically the episode where Cooper kills himself by splitting his personality. So Cooper, as we know it, is dead.
Sacrifice himself, I think, is a better term to use here.
I guess.
Because there's supposed to be a purpose to this mission.
But like technically Cooper's still alive. Part of him's still alive, happily in Vegas. Fucking Naomi Watts and has a cool kid and is hooked up with the gang. Like, so that's cool. I mean, we could all do a show. We could do a sitcom with that show. On this other side, I found it I guess what I found really weird is that we really circled back and we went 100% into Laura Palmer to save her. And I did find that incredibly weird. Like, she's dead, dude. She's done. But, like, really got to go find her. It's like, well, he's seriously going to go on this mission to find her? Like, that seems weird. That seems odd. Why are we doing this? And then, yeah, he's just in this, like, he's, like, in this purgatory of Laura Palmer not knowing who the fuck she is or what the fuck's going on. And then it's at the end, it's like, what time are we even? It's like, exactly. Okay, fine. Close the doors. Don't explain it. Let's just leave him in this eternal clusterfuck. And it just seemed like, that seems so just, sure, why not? It just seems so Just because the whole time I'm thinking like this is obviously not Cooper, but that's not really Laura Palmer, is it? And it's like,
You know, if you look at it as like,
nah.
if you look at it through
If she's an
Hindu
agent,
concept
sure,
of
sure. If she's an agent of the lodge or whatever, but like she's not actually Laura
she
Palmer.
was the she is an agent of the lodge. She was the golden orb that was sent by the
But that
firemen to
version
counteract
died.
Bob.
That body died. We saw her dead.
Yeah, but the orb doesn't die. And remember, Cooper just saved her. Cooper made sure she didn't die.
Okay, but here's the stupid thing about that shit, Gabe, is like every fucking clone has a gold orb when they die.
Not the one. Well, they've got the little beads. Yeah, there's
But it's a
that.
golden orb. We don't know how big it is. We don't know exactly what it is. We don't know what it looks like inside of
Right.
them.
But
There's no gauge
remember,
on that.
saying Laura died, that's not true anymore. Cooper stopped that from happening.
Mm.
All right. So here are like the prevailing theories amongst fandom. And remember, this is all part of the big plan between the firemen and Gordon and Cooper and Major Briggs.
Okay.
Like, so the general consensus is that Judy is the white ghost, the experiment, the spirit that birthed the Bob orb and the frog moth that infected Sarah, blah blah blah.
And the woman that cooks
You
the
know,
sick meals at the Odessa
at the diner,
banquet.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Treats the waitresses like shit, though. So this is like, this is a metaphysical counteractive force to the firemen and the evil spirits. They feed on pain and suffering. So there's this universe that Cooper is in now, where he's Richard, even though he keeps calling himself Cooper, is a pocket universe. And the argument is either it was a pocket universe that the firemen designed to trap Judy in. Think of him saying, "It is in our house now." Um, or this is a pocket dimension that Judy created to sequester Laura away in so she could continue to feed on her pain and suffering. Um, the idea is kind of like that Laura is bait, Cooper is the fisherman,
But
and
what if
Judy
none of
is.
that is true, Gabe?
What if? What if it's all just shit people made up? And they're like, yeah, that
Because
sounds
that's
good.
100% what that is. And there's probably a whole other theory that David Lynch is thinking, and he's reading your guys' bullshit and being like, that's funny.
I think, yeah. I think like whoever, the guy who did the 4-hour video
Oh my God.
where he talks about how it's all meta and it's all about it's a TV show that understands it's a TV show. Like, I'm sure David Lynch pissed himself laughing at some of those concepts. But there was one particular review I read, and I really think this does a good job of. Where's the byline on this? Who wrote this? But it's on Pop Cult, popcult.blog.
Dot blog is always a good reference.
Well, it looks at both sides of this coin,
Sure.
like the happy ending
Bipartisan.
or the sad ending. So this is like the first theory. I'm just going to read this verbatim because I thought it was interesting. My first theory is one that puts a bleak tone across the ending. Agent Cooper has just defeated his doppelganger in Bob. Diane has returned, and he is reunited with the people of Twin Peaks. But he refuses to be happy with this and has to push further. Cooper bends the very laws of nature and time to travel back and prevent Laura's death. The level of hubris he is exuding in the final moments of Part 17 is pretty gross. But Judy will not let him change this. In Part 18, now mastering travel between worlds,
Through fucking
he and
Diane.
Diane he and Diane cross into a universe created by Judy to hide Laura from him. In part 17, the one-armed man greets him, reciting the poem, which mentions two worlds. I would ask you to revisit that moment and think about the tone he recites with. What does that tell us? In the Judy verse, Cooper keeps making mistakes and ignoring the warnings the fireman gave him in part 1. Diane knows something is wrong, but has her identity erased as she becomes Linda and Cooper is turned into Richard. Cooper doesn't heed the warning coded into that letter and continues. He isn't the Cooper we know anymore at this point. He resembles Mr. C. This guy uses the term dupe, which I'm not going to use. Strangely enough, he is unemotional and very violent in the diner scene. Laura, now Carrie Page, is dealing with some major issues, blah, blah, blah. Instead of Cooper doing anything to truly help her, he continues to blindly pursue his mission to bring her home. To what? Her father would still have been possessed by Bob back in 1989. Cooper has become like Philip Jeffries, a man consumed by his mission as an FBI agent and a need to understand what the other realm is. Jeffries' physical form has decomposed and his mind has fractured. Jeffries is a warning about what happens when hubris and obsession overtake a person, and Cooper does not heed this warning. In the final scene, he's at his wit's end. Notice the posture he takes, similar to Jeffries. Cooper asks what year is this because he has become untethered from the fabric of space and time. He is in a hell of his own making, forged by Judy because he couldn't let go. Her victory is the never-ending torment of Laura Palmer, and as a result, the pain of Cooper, who can never close the case.
But I think that's bullshit, because I think from the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks, you create a character in Cooper that is not that kind of Cooper.
That's true. But so he's been trapped in a metaphysical realm for 25 years, fine. And that's changed him.
Maybe, but I still think that the very truest essence of Cooper is that he will not... Whatever. You know?
So here's the second theory.
Here's the other thing. As you were reading all that, oh my God, I just lost it. Go ahead. Shit.
I'll give you a second to try and come back with it.
No, I'm not.
Where did it stem from? What?
Oh shit! There was another.
The word hubris, because I mean, it is kind of hubris.
The hubris thing was the Cooper thing, but I think Cooper would be the first person to say no. He understands. Like he is a. Anyway. No. I mean, if anything, it's David Lynch's hubris. This is all David Lynch's hubris, motherfucker. Like, that's all this is. Like, this is just like, you guys are going to suck this dick.
There we go. There we go. There's Ian. There's Ian.
That's all I'll say about that. Anyway, I won't go that far.
All right.
But that's hubris.
So the second theory, this is the more optimistic one, but it begins with the same point, is that Cooper won't give up. He is ascending through levels of reality. When the one-armed man greets him under the Great Northern, the recitation of the poem is an initiation. Cooper, like the others before him, is a magician crying out between the two worlds. When we see Cooper exit the Red Room, he controls the curtains and thus the way out. He knows how to cross into other universes on his own. Judy tries her damnedest to force Cooper to turn back. She alters reality by changing the identities of he and Diane. Judy saps Cooper of his personality. She changes the motel and the car in an attempt to distort geography and disorient him. Judy makes sure Cooper isn't at the diner, and she even sends 3 cowboys to try and kill him.
This is a bit more intense. This is if of all the theories, the first one was a little more. This one's a little more elaborate. Like there's a lot. You're reading a lot into this one.
There is, yeah. She has Carrie embroiled in a juicy and intriguing mystery that could sidetrack the story for a whole season. The phone is even ringing as Cooper and Carrie leave the house, another way to try and hold him back. They drive through a seemingly never-ending night, Judy trying to keep Twin Peaks out of their grasp.
To hold them back, none of them even address the phone. Like, I'm not even sure they're hearing the phone. I think we're the only ones that are meant to hear the phone. I don't think they hear it. I don't even think that show. I don't even think that
Then
sequence.
why put it in there? Why even
That's
put it in
just
there?
for us. That is
Why though?
just to fuck with us because I do not think they didn't shoot it with the phone ringing. None of them acknowledge it at any time.
No, you don't see a phone
You don't
anywhere.
see a
Yeah,
phone. It sounds like it's down the hall.
yeah,
Yeah, so I feel like the phone thing is just Lynch really fucking with you, just really
yeah.
fucking with you.
When Cooper and Carrie arrive at the house,
You know what'd be
Judy has
great though?
changed.
It's probably what's his name? It's David Bowie.
Jeffries.
It's Jeffries. It's just Jeffries. Jeffries just
Yeah,
like just pick it up, dude.
just pranking
Just
everybody.
fucking pick up, bro.
Judy has changed the fabric of time so that the Palmers appear to have never owned the house. In fact, the actress playing the home's owner is the woman who owns that house in real life. That is true. Judy does everything she can to foil Cooper's investigation. The fireman has countered her, though, creating ways to remind Cooper that what he is experiencing is a lie. The names Richard and Judy, the diner is, or the names Richard and Linda were told to him beforehand. The diner is called Judy's as a reminder. Outside of Carrie's house is the utility pole with the 6 on it, which is a warning sign of evil. The mantle has the white horse, which is another representation of the Black Lodge. The previous homeowners are the Chalfonts, the current owners are the Tremons, both names associated with Black Lodge spirits. Anyone who's been faced with such obstacles would naturally give up. Cooper has failed, but with no other leads, he begins at the most basic element to get a foothold. What year is this? Like the consummate detective he is, if he can figure out the year, then he can ask the next question, and so on and so on. Following this pattern of deduction, he can regain his bearings and solve the mystery. This is the moment where Judy loses. She will never stop Cooper. He is unstoppable. Laura remembers who she is, bathed in the horror of that moment, but given truth, the electricity, a symbol of the Black Lodge, goes off in the Palmer house. Cooper will never return to the world of the material. Like the fireman and the one-armed man, he is the spirit of the lodge now. The case is closed.
See, I don't
So, okay,
believe electricity is the spirit of the Black Lodge.
so yeah, we touched on the thelemic stuff.
Okay, here's the other thing about the house and Sarah.
Mhm.
We never have an understanding of what the fuck is in that, like when she's talking to Hawk and whatever the fuck is going on in the other room. We don't know what the
It's the
fuck.
implication is that it's Judy.
That's okay.
Is that Sarah's possessed by a figment of Judy. Like when she takes her face off in the bar
Right, but
and
no,
we see the black
but you're
smile.
saying that the creature moth thing is a Judy thing.
Yes.
But then that doesn't make any sense. If she's there, then what is in that other room? Because she's talking to Hawk, and
Hmm.
they hear things in the other room. Like,
Yeah.
what is that?
That's an interesting question. Like you kind of wonder if like did Bob ever exit Leland and just like, a poltergeist
Oh, so
style knock over a chair or something
this is
like
a
that?
giant frog cricket kicking it in the kitchen, just like
Or like something
downing
like
some Smirnoff and
or like something more like we saw in the cube. Like the little the phantom thing we saw in the cube.
I think everyone's touching on things that are yes correct, but I also think everyone is just way off base. I think that's what you have to take away from this.
Yeah, I think part of it is everybody's going to develop their own theory. So okay, so let's go
Because
back
I don't
to
disagree with that theory at the end where like he's the FBI agent, he's trying to deduce the timeline and figure out where he's at and do
right.
like I don't deduce that, but he's also not Cooper. You know, there's
That's
no
how he introduces himself at the door.
but there's no more Cooper.
That's what he calls
I
himself when
know,
he
but
when she
I will agree with this on your case that I think Cooper is dead.
not necessarily dead, but
The Cooper as we know it is dead.
yes, Cooper as we know him has passed from this realm.
He somehow felt the need. And I think that's why when Diane is fucking him, she's like, this is also not Cooper. And it's awful
Right.
like the memory of fucking Mr. C.
Right. So here's what supports the theory of the pocket universe being a trap for Judy. Or here's items to support it. So when Sam and Tracy, way back in part 2 or part 3, have sex and summon the demon or whatever, this kind of touches on the concept of Crowley and sex magic, and how like sex is involved with casting spells and summoning demons and la 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 la. So the notion is that, Carrie or Sam and Tracy summon Judy through their act of illicit sex, that she is attracted to this somehow. And so that's why Cooper and Diane are having sex, in order to lure Judy into this pocket dimension where she can be trapped, and the firemen can get Judy out of their house, and Laura is that bait to get Judy into that pocket dimension. So here's the question that kind of a lot of this pivots on, is what happens to Laura when she disappears from the forest after Cooper saves her? Like, who is it that takes her from there and puts her in Terry Page in Odessa? Is that the fireman that does that, or is that Judy? And that's really where
So
you've got
then,
to decide.
okay, that's fine. But then why would she take her and put her in the trap?
Well, theory A is if the fireman took her, it's the trap. Theory B is if Judy took her, it's not a trap. It's just her trying to get Laura out of their reach.
Yeah, but every time the firemen have taken her, you see the firemen. Every time Judy takes, it's like this weird. It's like this.
The only other time we see that is when Tulpa Diane gets shot.
Yes. Well, we've seen it before that too. There was another.
In the very first episode in the Red Room, yeah. Carrie, the older Laura,
What
who, if
happens
you
in this
watch,
episode? It happens in this episode too when they're in the red room, and she gets.
yes, it's from the same,
Well,
yeah,
okay, it's from the
it's the
same
same
episode.
scene.
Because the past, the present, it's the same shit. Here's the thing I was thinking that doesn't really happen here, but I
Mm-hmm.
was kind of hoping that it would just loop on itself. Like I was
That's
hoping that.
another theory.
Well, it doesn't really play that out that way though. But it would have been cool if somehow it did do that. Because like this is an old Laura, it doesn't really gel. But I was like hoping. There's part of me was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool if it just kind of. Or if there was,
It,
or if there was some like
there is that
weird way
theory.
where
Like,
like,
there are agents of good and there are agents of evil, and
oh, I
the
know,
battle is never ending.
but if
The
something,
battle is a constant loop.
I guess what I'm saying is like something happened, something went crazy. I guess okay, so like in this sequence, it went crazy. Like at the end of the house, it was, and then it didn't just end there. It cut, and then the next scene was just Cooper driving into Twin Peaks from the show again, or something like to that effect, where it was just like, "Hey, Diane," he's talking to Diane and stuff. Because like, what happens to Diane? She's Linda and she just left. That's just her note and she just left. Like that seems so weird. Like it just there's
Well,
everyone just gets
remember
such an
that Diane at one
unceremonious.
point was in the lodge.
Sure.
So I think she's part of it. That's why I kind of lean toward the theory of it's the alternate universe is a trap for Judy.
Because there's no
Is
Diane
because
anymore.
Diane suffered the same fate as Cooper.
She died, and then she got
See, because she
duplicated.
doesn't die, she crosses over into another realm and
No,
kind
no,
of,
no, no, no. But initially, Diane got fucked by Mr. C.
yes, and then she was taken to the lodge.
Right.
She became Naido, the eyeless woman.
Right.
So she was in there
So
with
what's
Cooper.
the clone Diane?
The Tulpa Diane?
No, 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 no. The one that she sees at the hotel.
Blonde. Oh, that we don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's another one of
Yeah.
her.
Is she just, is her, I think that's her personality fragmenting at that point. or it's another timeline that she can see. It's just, yeah, it's a similar thing to what's happening to Cooper. She's losing pieces of herself that go on and
But Cooper
develop.
isn't losing pieces. See, that's not a good thing to say because like Cooper's making the choice to split himself. So like now
Diane
like
made the
Diane
choice too. Diane chose
when
to
it
join him when she
join
said,
him,
"Let's go."
but
Yeah,
she didn't have the one-armed man make a copy of her. So like
somebody
why
manufactured a copy of her.
well yes, sure. But
Mr. C did in the beginning.
yes. So there's a third one? He made a third one?
They made a third Cooper. It's that. Yeah, that was one of those things I never came up with an explanation for.
Okay.
Just like the puking teenager in the car after somebody shoots up the double R.
Gabe,
Like, it's just one of those things we never address.
do you have something you can just spout upon for a second while I take a fat piss? I know it's been a hot minute since Ian had to take a piss during a show, but like it hit me all of a sudden, and
I can probably
I'm a little-
ramble a little bit,
Or
or
just
we
talk-
can just pause entirely while I go
we're
up
not
and
gonna
get another
pause.
cider.
You can just make a drink or do whatever you want. I just like, hey guys, enjoy. Here, I'll just just everyone.
Intermission time.
You
Do
can
we have
talk-
some
you can-
music we can put on for them
Here, I'll play the
during the intermission?
I'll play the title song.
We'll put on the theme.
I'll
Yeah,
put a theme
we'll be
on.
back before it comes out. Do 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 do. Hey, bud. You doing okay? You been good? You been a good boy?
Oh yes, I made it just in time.
Not me. You mean just in time? That song's like 5 minutes long.
It's not, Gabe. It's 2.5 minutes long.
Really? That's all the longer it is?
Yeah, that's all. That's all it is, dude.
I just thought it was a much longer song than that.
No. Some friend you are listening to it. Sure.
Thought it was more epic than it actually was. What can I say?
That's all the best things are shorter than you remember them.
Except for Stairway to Heaven.
Well, that's about the
That's
right
always
length.
longer than you remember it.
That's about the right
That's
length.
just as long as it needs to be.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh. So what we got? What else we got?
Where were we? We were on the theory of the sex magic trapping Judy. Yeah.
Oh yes, sex magic.
But yeah, just this all being, they're willing participants in the plan of beings from a higher plane of existence. And I think, the notion of the loop I think that's kind of why Cooper is looking.
You know what would have been awesome then? If then
What?
with if Dougie having sex with Gina E had that is what would have brought Cooper back. They could have had an intense sex scene there, and then she woke up
That's
with this
been done.
total. No, that would have been great,
That
dude.
is
This
one of the
show.
plot points in Dune,
Well, sure, okay,
one
but
of the
not
later
not
books.
not everyone's watched read. Okay, not everyone's read Dune.
I
Not
would, I
everyone.
would argue that
Okay,
most
wait.
Twin Peaks fans have read Dune.
Not everyone in Dune has read the later books, or read. Everyone interested in Dune has not read the later books. But
Well, then they can't really call themselves Dune fans.
when no one has to call them, I've seen Dune. I'm not a Dune fan. I like the Dune
Oh,
films.
have you read Dune?
Fuck no.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, yeah, I'm an artist, a filmmaker. I don't read
I'm an
books.
artist. I don't read.
Yeah, fucking books.
Who reads books for film
I read.
ideas?
I
What
read.
kind of jackass does that?
I read comic books for film ideas, like everyone else.
That's totally
Uh,
valid.
no, but like let's condense this a bit. Let's like get this shorted down. Let's spend some more time on the scripts and like anyway. Broken record.
Broken record. Yeah. You do have a lot of similar complaints about. I mean, and like I said, your complaints are 100% valid. It's overindulgent at times. There's stuff that clearly makes no sense and is just there for his indulgence. But I mean, it's
But what do you
any
honestly
art.
what do you are there more theories? I'm sorry. Are there more theories we have to get to?
No, no, no.
Oh, that's it.
Nothing like. I mean, there's variances on like the notion of the time loop because there's the figure eight that you see
Mm-hmm.
when Jeffries pours that out of the smoke. Like he turns it around, but the ball moves to the exact same place. It's like, yeah, right back to where you started from. So yeah, there's this idea that whatever Laura is whispering to Cooper at the end is basically her telling her that, yeah, we're going to keep repeating this loop throughout the end of time. We're just spirits that are possessing these bodies that are destined to do this same dance over and over and over
Or
again.
or maybe he's doing different things, but they're just different outcomes. Like they're just slightly variants. Like I guess I just didn't really think of it as like a pocket world. I just felt like, oh, fuck.
Well, or
Now
yeah,
I'm
they're
now I'm
either
here,
like
and
a
this
pocket
is not.
universe or just an alternate universe that was created when Laura Palmer didn't die.
Yeah, it's split.
And this,
It's like the split
right, because
happens.
this is something that's confirmed in Secret or Final Dossier, which we'll talk a little bit more about in the epilogue. But one of those things, it's like it's written from Tammy's point of view. She's the author of the Final Dossier, and she spends time in Twin Peaks, like asking people about, what happened to Laura Palmer, and everybody gets kind of fuzzy about it, and they're just like, she just disappeared. Like she wasn't murdered, she just kind of disappeared, and everybody's just like they're just kind of like gloss over it. They're just kind of like, well, yeah, she just kind of disappeared. Anyway, like it was overwritten in their brains.
Because this can't be a pocket universe to trap something if like then now Laura Palmer and Cooper are stuck in it and then now have to live out the rest of their life in it. Like this is just
Well, and what
this is like a threaded out, like we did a thing, it split off from it diverged, and now it's just another timeline, like the other Cooper with the Gina E. That's the other. That's another timeline. There's another timeline. Like they're just sprouting off, and I feel like that's kind of what like. It's like, okay, that's where we're at. He's like, God damn, what year is this? And it's like, got to do this all over again. But
yeah,
like,
he doesn't know.
But can he do this all over again? Because he doesn't really have. Like you'd have to go to, Cooper Prime, and then I would argue. This would be a fun one. This would have been really meta and really fun. This would be a fun thing. Man, I have a lot of questions. I don't know if I should ask you them now or I should wait till next episode.
Hey, we can do them both.
Uh,
We might have different answers for them next week.
no, but like,
I welcome any questions
would
you
you
have.
be against this continuing under a different filmmaker?
As long as Mark Frost was involved, no.
And then what filmmaker would you think could do this? Or
Jennifer
filmmakers?
Lynch.
Oh, Jennifer Lynch. You don't think there's no other weirdos out there?
I think you could probably find some directors that would come back and make a good impact. I think Rachel Talalay would be really good at this. I think she would be a good person to helm a new season of Twin Peaks. I don't know how much she works like in the writer's room. Like she's mainly a director. She's not necessarily like a creative driving force.
So I don't know if you've seen it, but when you look at Severance,
Michael Waldron.
Do you think Ben Stiller could do it?
No.
You don't think after watching Severance, you don't think he could do this?
I think after watching Loki, Michael Waldron could do it.
Have you seen Severance?
No, I haven't seen Severance.
All right. Well, then you have homework.
I guess so. I hear lots of good things about it. That's the Adam Scott one, right?
Yeah, I think that's...
That's a Ben Stiller?
It's probably the most David Lynch TV show that's more streamlined for mainstream, but like...
Ben Stiller's the showrunner on that? Really?
He writes and directs a lot of them. Yeah, he's a showrunner. It's his
Holy shit, I had no idea.
Yeah. This is where I think Ben Stiller is like probably a little darker and more edgier than you give him credit for. I mean, we all know Tropic Thunder and some of his other stuff, but like Severance is wild. I think you should give it a try.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think you should give it a try. Just to like, if it doesn't jive with you, it doesn't jive with you. But I think it's got some weird in it that I'm curious, because I would like that's kind of my first inclination. Not necessarily that he has to direct all the episodes or anything, but like I feel like he would be a good Sherpa if this was a show,
a good guide,
a thing to happen.
And he's someone that could work it through the necessary channels in Hollywood.
But it's also done at a higher level than Twin Peaks. This is kind of the thing where, like, I talk about, like, he takes a lot of, like, it's really Lynch, but it's also really Kubrick, also, because it's very perfect and very thought out. Whereas Lynch, I think, is a little more just kind of spitballing a bit more. So, like, maybe that's not what you want from your Lynch show. You want a little more like weird, just like what the fuck is that kind of stuff. But yeah, I give it a try. I would be interested because like when I think
I do want to check it out.
When I think about everyone and like different people I've seen and like they're weird, man, Severance sticks in my head as being like that kind of thing. It's like, this is kind of weird. That could really work.
The other show I've heard compared to Twin Peaks most often is the German Netflix series called Dark.
I have no idea what that is.
It's a Netflix series, but apparently it's similar to Twin Peaks. So me personally, like watching Twin Peaks, the and you're probably never going to guess this, but I may have told you this in the past. The one piece of media that made me feel that almost brought this Twin Peaks feeling back for me, and I would say it did bring it back and maybe even ramped it up a little bit. But like the similar mood and tone I got from this was the video game Control.
See, okay. This is why yes, you did say this, and this is where I think Severance hits very hard for me. I think you will love Severance.
Okay,
because I think Control is too perfect, too thought out to a degree, whereas Lynch is way more messy. Like Control is really kind of. But yes, Control is an awesome video game. I 100% agree
and it pushes concepts that for those of you who love Twin Peaks and love video games, if you haven't played Control, you're gonna fucking love it. Trust me.
And this is why I think.
So
and then everyone listening, I think this is why he should listen to or watch Severance.
And he's probably right, and I think I'm gonna give it a try, given what you're saying about it. So I watched the behind the curtain
Mhm.
episode for part 18, but I forgot my notes. So I'll go over a little bit of what I remember,
Sure. Sure.
but we'll go over it in more detail on our last episode.
You forgot I'm at home?
Yeah, because my behind the scenes notes are always handwritten in a
Oh,
notebook,
okay. Okay.
as opposed to the recap, which I do on the tablet.
I figured you were like little type, tippity tap, little tap, 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 tap.
No, because it's more stream of consciousness
Mm,
when I do the backstage stuff.
mm.
It's more just like taking notes on like what the key points are, as opposed to the recap, which I really like. I want to have a dialogue for,
So how
or monologue, I
soon? How
suppose.
soon into production was this shot? Versus like, was it at the end or was it not?
Not, I mean, it was varied. The scenes with at the house, at the Palmer house, were very early in production, like within the first 2 weeks of
Oh,
production.
wild.
So the very, very last scene of the series, yeah, was super early in filming.
Did they shoot like all of Laura Palmer stuff just like super front ended then? Like all the
Maybe like the Red Room stuff, I'd have to go back and look at my notes. That might be a better question for next week
okay.
to get an idea of like what was filmed where.
I'm just
But yes, the
shooting
stuff,
those questions out if they jog your memory.
the basic gist of it was like the early part of the shoot was focused in Washington and was focused on the Twin Peaks sets and like the wilderness sets. Mr. C and Richard out on their little journey. That was the early shoot. The later shoot was Vegas and Buckhorn.
That's pretty crazy over 18 episodes to shoot a lot of that stuff so early. That's kind of crazy, actually.
It is crazy. It means he had a very good idea of where the story was going before they picked up a camera.
They never edited that story at all. They just went for it. It's like, this is it. I already got the
This is
schedule.
it.
Let's go.
Yeah, there was some stuff that surprised me in the filming schedule for sure. Like I think we already touched on the fact that the very last thing that they shot for the series was a close up of one of the overhead cameras in a Vegas casino.
Oh, right. We talked about that.
Yeah. And so I think the total filming stretched across 6 or 7 months.
So then you're
They
saying that
started,
then the Mitchum brothers were probably at the tail end of everything. They were okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe not the scenes in Truman's office. I think those might have come
Oh,
earlier.
right.
So yeah, I think they might have actually filmed those before anything in Vegas and anything they did with Dougie, which must have been hella confusing for them.
Right.
But on the other hand, I want to say that no, I think that came after because I remember the part 17 behind the scenes has the rap announcement for Belushi, where he talks about like, oh yeah, I had a copy of the whole script. So yeah, I'll have to go back and look at that. We'll need my notes for the answers to those questions. Because yeah, I remember I was trying to figure out like what the first thing they shot for the series was, and like the earliest thing I noted was the scene where Richard attacks Miranda in her trailer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is a weird place to start. But yeah, like most of the stuff that was filmed in
Why
Washington and
couldn't
like,
her name been Linda? That would have been weird, right? Anyway, just really
I mean,
funny.
everybody always wonders like there's a lot of theories about Mike and Bob and Mike and Bobby and why there are both of those pairings and how are those related. So, I mean, given what we saw of Mike in The Return, I would say they're not related at all, but
I just feel like
take that for what you will.
all the main characters just get forgotten. Like there's not even a consideration for wrapping up in any way. Like we're just kind of like, and done. There's
So
just
which
no.
characters in particular did you feel like unfulfilled with?
Well, all the Twin Peaks characters, like, like. So the last time we
I mean,
see,
I'd say we got some good closure
no, we don't.
with Ed and Norma
Oh yes, but like
and
you,
Nadine by extension.
but like when we're in the last episode 17 in Twin Peaks officer headquarters,
Yes,
Sheriff Truman, Hawk, uh, Andy, and what's her name,
Lucy.
Lucy, like all of that just like dropped. Like
Yes,
it's just
they
dropped.
don't really get arcs.
No,
We just get a glimpse at their modern day
you
life.
were a service to your fellow TV show people and go with God, my son. I don't know. And then even it's just like I don't know. It seems so even for Lynch I feel like that's weird because he in his films he does a better job of wrapping up arcs with characters. In this I just feel like it's just like and I can't I mean, I can blame Lynch because he's the writer and director. But Frost, like, you guys didn't, like, I just feel like, I don't know, even if it has to be something confusing, like, you have them in a world where we see them all and they're just, I don't know. I don't know. It's sad. It's sad.
It made me sad too that we didn't get more of that reunion.
You kind of get a cliffhanger, but it's also that you kind of get a cliffhanger in that last episode, and then you never
Where he
go
says,
back.
like, I hope, yeah. I mean, maybe the intention was to go back at some point. I don't know.
I don't know. It just seems so like disappointing and just so like even in the old Twin Peaks episodes, there was more care to those characters than this. And I was also hoping that somehow the here's other argument like Lillard. I was hoping that somehow that the time travel, whatever is going on here, once it was being weird, it's like, man, it'd be cool if somehow Lillard comes back into this, or like there's just
He was
so
a
many.
revelation in this series,
There's
wasn't
just
he?
so many people that are just unceremoniously shoveled off the mortal coil, and it's just like, I guess that's it. Like, good luck, motherfucker.
It was hysterical watching him at the Comic-Con panel because so the Comic-Con panel happened like after episode 8 had already aired. And so yeah, Lillard's up there talking about like, yeah, I wasn't a fan in the beginning, like I wasn't one of the devotees like everybody else was, but I'm watching the current one now and I don't fucking get it. He's just like, did any of you people watch part 8? What did it fucking mean? I don't understand. And he's just going off about it. And it's fun to watch. But he also, like, in the same breath, he talks about how much fun he had on set and how awesome Lynch was to work with. And he's like, I don't get where we were going with this, but I had a great time when I was working.
There's just so many loose ends.
There are, and there were. I mean, maybe that's a parallel for the original series because there were a ton of loose ends there too.
Not as many as this.
Maybe not.
I mean,
that's debatable.
Green
Because
green
some of those
armed
loose
fist
threads
guy.
get tied
We
up
have
here.
Bloody
Freddy the Fist, yeah.
Puking guy. We have Chad. We
Parrot
don't know.
drunk.
We don't know what happened to Diane. We don't know. There's just so much like. I guess.
I think I'm pretty sure we know what happened to Chad.
Do we?
Chad's going to prison.
I think he's marrying Diane. Anyway.
Chad's going to be cellmates with Hank. They're going to have their in-prison spinoff.
Man, we needed Hank, dude.
Hank's dead.
Like, very few people. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Ed and Norma got a happy ending. Fucking Jacoby and what's her name? Nadine kind of have this weirdly happy ending. But Bobby and Shelly don't. And then her daughter definitely. We have no idea. That was like, why was that even in the story? Like,
Because they're there, man.
why is Shelly and her boyfriend, Psycho Meth Boy? I'm glad we wasted
I mean,
so much time on that
sometimes
bullshit because that offered nothing to the story. That offered absolutely nothing except
mm,
one scene where the whole family is in a booth. But like, we didn't need to dictate that much time to those psychos because not relevant. Anyway, and the fact that Shelly had to drive, like, do some like dangerous, like, why is that even happening? Why? Anyway, there's a lot of stupid shit going on. What else is stupid? No, I'm just
what else is stupid?
no, not stupid, but like what it was. Like it's almost like it. It's almost like the Lillard stuff is unnecessary. Like you could just have. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like you could really cut that. It's wild. There's a lot of wild like choices going on in this, and I feel like you could spend more, but whatever. You could spend differently. You could save some money, put some money in the pockets. Maybe shorten the series a little bit. I don't know. I didn't think it needed it. You could make it just as weird and not have to do a lot of that stuff. I feel like some of that, I don't know. And then the whole Audrey thing. Don't even get me into that. Oh, okay.
And that was a lot of people's major gripe. Yeah.
Like, why even do that? Like, maybe have her show up. I don't know. What's the point? I don't know. There's no payoff there.
But they tie it in to the end.
Kinda, but it's not important. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit
I don't
hard.
know
It
either.
doesn't hit hard enough. Doesn't hit hard enough.
Yeah. It's just kind of. She's basically there to confirm that Richard is her child.
And then all those scenes where we're watching these random people drink at a bar or at a table in a bar offer very little. Like, what was that about?
Yeah. That's not established. Like how many of those were real and how many of those were figments of Audrey's imagination.
Great. Thank you. Cool. Well, that's fun. James.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
James is cool. James has always been cool.
He's always been cool. And now he's on a list now or something. I don't know, but
He's on a list.
He's got a lisp or something. He's got a little
Oh.
He's on a list.
He's on a list.
He's always been on a list. I don't know. What do you? Okay, you talk it up so much. You talk this series up so much. You love it so much. What are your seriously negative critiques about it? We've heard me over all these episodes talk shit about this show, and you've been steadfast. You've been positive about the show. You've done your. What do you really dislike about it?
I think we've covered bits of that.
No, but we want to hear it.
There are a lot of scenes that don't feel necessary. That don't make sense in connection with the larger pieces of the story. And like on rewatches, I can appreciate them separately for what they bring from like an acting perspective or a writing perspective, like isolating those scenes. But their lack of connection with like the broader parts of the story, it bothers me. It bothers me from a more coherent storytelling standpoint. Now, it's far more realistic, yeah. Like there are lots, like you cannot take one thread of one story in real life and not have it branch off in crazy directions. Like any one story in one person's life, there are branches that you could follow endlessly. And
Okay, but
it overindulges in that.
you hated
It
certain
over
you hated certain characters in the previous series.
in the OG series, yes.
What in this series did you just fucking hate?
I wouldn't say there was anything in this series that really turned me off. Because part of it for me was always the mystery. Like the sense of mystery, the sense I think if anything, my main critique is that it doesn't really give you the answers.
Well, it's never going
Which
to do
is
that, right?
yeah, and that's a half-assed critique. It's but like a good like and I shouldn't necessarily say a good story, but in most storytelling, you understand what the ending is.
Well,
Sometimes it's left a little open as to like for room for more storytelling, but you understand what happened.
okay, but
Like
like
you haven't under.
I have multiple questions. But I knew going into these last couple episodes, and you were kind of like leading me a little bit, but like I know David Lynch. I knew that this ending wasn't going to give me the answers to any of what's going on. I knew that this was going to be
And I should have known better going in.
well, but I knew that that's kind of how it was going to be. But I was still massively let down by the ending. Are you still massively let down by the ending or no?
Not as much as I was in the beginning.
You're forgiving it.
I am forgiving it a little bit. It's again, it still frustrates me that so much is left open to interpretation. But from the standpoint of understanding art, like I get that. Like I get artists who don't want to hold your hand the whole way through.
I guess I would. You know what? You know how I argued that there wasn't enough scenes of the Cooper in Vegas. I said like that happy version of Cooper. We only got one scene.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that one scene, but at the very end, just the family doing the pancakes thing again, and then close it like really quickly.
Oh, like one more action of them as a family.
As a family, he kind of does. He's kind of still his goofy, weird self, but there's the family scene of the pancake, like the scene we saw, but like him a little more coherent, very
right,
super fucking short. But you do it, and then you cut, and it's like,
yeah.
Well, then what?
Like they wouldn't. Yeah, they had plenty of room for that, right? They could have cut one of those
You're right.
driving scenes down by 30 seconds to add that.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, well, he lost, and then you're like, well, he won. Like that just kind of hammers home the fact that the duality of the character now, and I feel like that might have been enough to make that ending a little more palatable, because it's just so. Because like let's be. I mean, I think you have this feeling in what is it, the third to last episode when he sits down with Janie. I cannot pronounce her name, but
Jamie E.
Whatever, and Sonny Jim.
Yeah,
but they have to be these weird ass names. Like I'm gonna be back, basically, but not him. But he's gonna be back. It's like, well, let's show you, and you show it, but I think it is a darker tale. I honestly think it is darker knowing that like Cooper is split. Like it is, like it's a happy ending, but it's a dark ending. Because he's oblivious. He's oblivious to the fact that the other Cooper is stuck in a fucking other place with, it's like this weird
Yeah.
dichotomy, and I think that hammers home. And I think that doesn't give a lot away. It's telling you already what he's told you, and I think it's like, what is this about? And then you're like, oh, he's happy. What? I think it is a very darkly comedic ending. I think that's what I probably would. Honestly, probably the only thing I would have changed out of this episode. I would have shortened it, and I would have done that a little bit, just because that's weird. That's weird. I think that's pretty weird, and it doesn't give a lot away. It's already saying what he says. Maybe it hammers home his perspective a little bit, but maybe
there's the notion,
or you just zoom in on his eyes like he knows more, but you're never gonna get it. You're never gonna get it.
this is what bothered me the most about the end, was the look on Cooper's face. Is that, despite all his efforts, like something was still distressing him. He was like,
yeah, but that's that Cooper.
The look on his face would indicate that he didn't win.
That's that Cooper.
Right. But, if we got those last credits on the family portrait.
No, but you wouldn't get it either. You wouldn't get it either. But you maybe would be like, that's also an awful ending. You know what I'm saying? But you still have this idea, like it's just as awful. It's just as awful. So that's why. I guess what I'm saying is
you have both options to build your fanfic off of.
But what I'm saying is,
you've got Happy Cooper and you've got Trapped Spirit Cooper.
But I guess what I'm saying is, it doesn't betray the story, or what your story is ultimately telling, because you have a Cooper. You basically have a. I mean, both Coopers are fucked. They're both fucked.
Not the new Dougie.
He's trying to. Well, but he is.
New Dougie's going to be fine.
He's going to be fine, but he's not. He's not a Cooper. He's not. He's
the best parts of Cooper.
He's the best parts of Cooper, but he's not. And he's
never going to have like his intelligence.
No, but he's for them. He's not.
Or his drive. Yeah, no. He's just the parts of him that he needs, that they need.
But it's what you need.
Which is the joyful.
But what do you need to be a human? Humanity. Is that what David Lynch is getting at here? Humanity? What makes us human?
Maybe.
What is even Cooper in Twin Peaks?
I think what David Lynch is trying to do is inspire conversations like the one we're having right now.
100%. As all awful,
and in that respect, he succeeded.
As all awful art does. I mean, this is up there with Michael Bay's Transformers, Flight of the Navigator.
All good art does this too.
Good art? Are we putting this in good art too? I don't know.
Good art inspires conversation. That's subjectivity again.
Also, what was my other? I had another question, and now I fucking lost it. Oh, what character do you think got the? What OG character do you think got the most shafted?
The most shafted.
Yeah, which one are you?
OG character.
Which one do you wish you thought would have a little bit more play? Would have a little bit bigger, better story. What was the one that you felt like so let down by?
And I knew it going in, but Harry. My biggest letdown of this whole series was that we did not get a Harry and Cooper reunion.
Wouldn't it be rad if like he said it all out the entire time, but they did sign him for like one last episode, and when he came out of the drapes, Harry was there by the log, by the sycamores.
Yeah. And he was the age, like he was the same age, but Cooper is 25 years older.
The only thing that he was in, that would have been. That's actually the first thing I thought. Like when I saw Diane, it's like, man, that'd be sick if Harry was there. Like, if this was the only time we see him, how wild would that have been? Anyway, I did have that thought.
That personally was my biggest letdown of the return, is because a lot of the charm of the OG series came from the bond between Cooper and Harry. came from that bromance because they had great chemistry together as best buds.
Oh, I know. I mean, I'm looking back
Yeah,
nostalgically at those episodes where they're together and they're doing their fun thing, and he's wearing his weird overcoat, and
yeah.
I don't know, the Bookhouse Boys
You could-
bullshit. I don't know.
It felt
It's
it
like
felt
yeah.
genuine. It felt like genuine friendship, and because it was like they got along together on set, and it felt very genuine, and that was one of my favorite parts of the original series. And yeah, that was my biggest letdown, was that we didn't get a reunion between those two.
It's wild that he wouldn't do it.
Second biggest letdown was that, like, there was barely any yeah, I mean, like, I guess you could apply that as a whole to Cooper reuniting with anybody from Twin Peaks. Like his interaction with Hawk is one line.
Mm,
Things are going to be
yeah,
different now, and
sure.
Hawk nods with understanding. But, like, yeah, just like, yeah, Cooper, and it's not necessary to the story. It would be just fan service, but yeah, Cooper catching up with his old friends. We never get to see it,
You know what?
and
I
that
kind of. You know what?
that bummed me out.
Something. All of this. Like I'm kind of okay. Like I'm okay with kind of. Honestly, I like Laura Dern a lot. She's a great actress.
Hmm.
I love her.
Mm.
I honestly think I wish Diane had no part in this. I like
Yeah,
the
I think
idea. I like the idea that we just never find out who that is. Like, I think that's
I'm not. Yeah,
like we could have actually put Audrey in that role somehow. Probably we probably could anyway. I
it
just
could have
feel like,
worked. Yeah,
because obviously Cooper, maybe Mr. C is he is,
have
or
Albert
yeah,
have Albert being the one who talks to
yeah.
Diane via tape.
See,
Albert would have some great
it just
monologues to spout with her with his acerbic wit.
I love Laura Dern. I get it. It's fun. I get it. But I just
Third in line was well, and I shouldn't say Albert got sidelined. He got sidelined in the back half of the
they just didn't
series.
really give him much. I mean, but they didn't really
They
give
did in the
him.
beginning.
They gave
They did
him.
in the
They
beginning,
gave him a
but in the
lot, but they
end,
didn't let him be Albert. He kind of is a
they
neutered.
did for a little bit.
He's kind of
For
a
a
neutered
little,
out. He's a little bit neutered Albert.
he got the scene in the beginning with the rain and the freak out there. But I think in the end, this is supposed to be a more evolved Albert,
Hmm.
and if he's continuing to travel down the path that he says he is, which is the Gandhi path, then this is an appropriate arc for him.
I also think
It is developed well.
I think Albert let Albert headline this, and let's put David Lynch. I love you, but like let's put you on
Well,
the back burner, bro. Let's let Albert headline some of this.
we also have to remember that Miguel Ferrer
I know, I know,
was
I know.
sick with cancer during filming
But we
and
have these two
was
characters.
limited in
We
his
have Albert
availability.
and the woman. What's her name?
Tammy.
Tammy, Candy, Tammy. Well, it's all the same. Uh, like they could have those conversations. I don't know. They could have handled it. She could have stepped up. Anyway.
And in the books, like, she's a driving force in Mark Frost's narrative for sure.
Oh well, she's not a driving force here.
No, she's an audience proxy in the series.
She's sexy.
She is. She's great to look at. But yeah, I really think Tammy's purpose in the series is just audience proxy. Like, she's just there to be somebody to
But
direct
why?
exposition
That's so
at.
That's tiring. And
It's
like
necessary.
and then Gordon Cole bullshit with his hearing aid gets so fucking tiring. It's like
No, no, no.
that gets
That
tiring.
that was one. It was one of the best moments of this series, though.
Was it?
Was Yeah, well, it was in when Albert told him, "Say please," and Gordon's like, "What?
Oh.
You heard me. Please."
All I'm saying is like those he could have been the boss and lesser in it, and then those two you could have focused on. You don't need to have 3 of them. You just need 2 of them. They can figure it
So you
out.
could have just had Gordon on the phone and Albert and Tammy by
Yeah,
themselves on the road, is what you're saying?
classic Gordon on the phone with the fucking thing. Anyway, I never did it. Gabe. I feel bad. Where is it?
Did what? What are you talking about?
I had recorded some samples. You had done an episode. We had done an episode where you did your best David Lynch, and you did a bunch of David Lynch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually have
you got
one.
time?
I actually have one. And so I was going to do a camera thing where I cut to a camera and then you just talk. And I never got around to it. I'm just lazy.
We can do it for the last episode.
Nah, I'm not gonna.
We've got an episode to go.
It's too late. Come on. We're
No. I want to see where you're going here. Where are you going with this?
It's never gonna happen. I ain't got time for this.
What the fuck are you talking about? You're on summer break. You got all the time in the world.
I'm going to be on vacation in Coeur d'Alene the next week. That's why I can't be on the show.
Coeur d'Alene.
Coeur d'Alene. Anyway, I have one of these things, and like, hey Charlie, or hey Gordon. Anyway, I was gonna set it here. I was put another camera on it. I was gonna have it ring in. Like ring, 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 and then like, hey Gabe, I think we need to answer the phone. And then I was gonna play all these sound clips. It didn't happen. I feel bad, but I just can't. I can't do everything. I got too many things. You know what? I'm working on a movie tomorrow and Friday. Like I'm doing things. I'm just busy.
You hadn't mentioned that, yeah. I didn't know you were on a set again.
Monty and I are working on another short film. It's never ending. Why do I get into these projects? I don't know. I'm too old. Best laid plans of mice and men.
Mm.
Oh, there goes the bass.
Your bass, I hope. Because if I knock that fucker over, I'm in trouble.
My bass.
Your bass.
Anyway.
What
other questions did I have for you?
Well, I mean, we're running a little long, so maybe you should save them for next week. Or
long.
The finale.
Now we're going too long. All right. No, it's fine. 100% get you. I will come up with some more questions. I think it's been fun kind of grilling you about the Twin Peaks. And,
yeah. I
should find some trivia for you. I'll try and find the hardest trivia online.
Twin Peaks trivia?
And then I'll ask you about it. Because I know, because you've already given me a couple times, I think we've done some trivia for me, where I tried to like name some characters and anyway.
Or the actor who played them or something like that.
I will come up with some hard-ass trivia for you. And then see how
that might make up for not having the alternate camera with the sound bites.
I'll think.
Although I do want to hear those recordings of me doing my Lynch impressions. I want to know how they sound.
Okay. Well, I'll think about it.
You'll think about it. All right. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up this recap of part 18. This is our last recap episode and our penultimate episode.
Yes.
So we're going to have a couple hours worth of theories and discussion and supplemental material. And so a little more homework for you is I want you to think about any characters that you didn't see adequate closure for, or anybody from the OG series that you didn't see anything for.
Oh.
And we'll see if there was any explanation for them in
You purchased Lost Highway, right?
Yes, I did.
Did you watch it?
Not yet. I was waiting until the end of the series.
You should watch it. We can talk about it. You should watch it in this time period, in this break.
We had discussed doing an episode.
I know. Just watch it. Just watch it, and then we can
just watch it, and we'll discuss it.
We'll discuss. Okay. I'm just curious. Like when you watch it, like I don't really care about like discussing the film so much, but when you watch it, just like how much of it is Twin Peaks. Like that's what I'm more curious about. What if that
Right.
triggers that in your brain? Because like when I watched, because I've seen Lost Highway so many times that watching Twin Peaks was like, wow, this is just so much Lost Highway. And
Yeah.
that's what I want. That I guess ultimately that's what I want. That's all I really want to talk about. So
Is how connected the two are.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's my homework over the next 2 weeks is to watch Lost Highway.
And then maybe I'll pull
I feel
up
like I
those.
get the lighter load. Yeah, I feel like I get the lighter load here.
That's good.
But
All right.
all right, well,
We've
hey,
done it.
it's been so much fun. We made it all the way through the entire series, and
One
there's a
more.
little more material to cover, but
One more, Gabe.
one more, and
52.
what a journey it's been. 52
That's like
episodes.
1 week a year. You could watch this whole series in a year. That's weird. That's
Yeah.
wild.
And I mean, if we had tighter schedules, we could have recorded the whole thing in a year.
But like that's like there's 52
But that's not real
cards.
life.
There's 52 cards in a deck. There's 52 weeks in the year, and there's 52 blank in the fart. Blank is
There's
a fart?
52 universes in the multiverse.
Well, in someone's universe.
In
Jesus
someone's
Christ.
multiverse. That's what I always think of when I hear 52. 52. But yes, thank you so much for all of those of you who have come along on this entire journey. It's been fun for us. We hope it's been as much fun for you. And please join us for the epilogue in 2 weeks where we do our big summary and our big wrap up and just, you know how those sorts of things go. Yeah. Just, gobble and come.
It's been so much fun.
Make sure you eat a lot of pineapple before.
I hate pineapple, but no, I like. I actually
You'll do it for me. You'll do it for me.
I actually like fresh pineapple. It's not so good. It's not so bad. I like it. I don't like it on pizza, but I like it. I like it fresh and cold.
It took me until adulthood to appreciate pineapple on pizza.
I still don't appreciate it on pizza. It's gross as fuck.
The combination of fruit and cheese was a huge turnoff for me for a long time. But that's the only place where it works for me. Gotta confess, it grew on me. I don't know how. Don't know why. I was the same as you. Like when
I like tomato on pizza, and that's technically a fruit. Bell pepper, technically a fruit.
But not a citrus fruit.
No.
Wow. Anyway, fun off topic there. But so yeah, thanks again for joining us. One more episode left to go. We hope you join us for that one too. In the meantime, let a smile be your umbrella and keep your eye on the donut and not on the hole. We'll see you in 2 weeks for the epilogue. Thanks again, everyone. Love you, Ian.
Love you too, Gabe. Ciao.